Hey guys, so thank you so much for joining us for our Texas 70.3 race recon. I actually forgot to record this on our team call on Sunday, so I'm just doing this again for you all if you didn't get a chance to watch it. And we're just speaking about Texas 70.3 specifically, and a couple things you want to know about this race and the preparation for it come next Sunday. So just starting out, race morning, transition opens at 5, race starts at 7. Highly recommend you guys get there at that time because there is a walk to the swim start and you need to be standing in the chute a lot sooner, especially if you want to seed yourself to be one of the front people to go off because of how narrow it is. So let's talk about some of the tips we have for the swim start. Number one, always have an extra pair of shoes with you. You're walking on concrete to the swim start, and it's probably going to take you about 10 minutes to walk there. You definitely don't want to walk barefoot. So what we usually see athletes do is they'll come race morning, they'll set up their transition. You might go for an easy 5-10 minute jog, do a little bit of mobility. And then we start seeing athletes actually put on their wetsuits near the transition where all the team tents are set up. So with your coaches, with your family, and then you start to head down to the swim start. Expect 10 minutes of walking. Wear shoes, wear flip-flops. I recommend running shoes, and then you hand it off to your family or coaches right before you go into the final chute. Know that the spectators cannot go all the way down to where the swim start is. There is a point where there's someone there, there's a gate, and it lets all the athletes go through, but no spectators. So at that point, if you need any further help with your wetsuit, if you need to hand off the shoes, anything else you want to do so at that time. And then anyone watching the race, they can watch it from that point, or they can just start to make their way to the swim finish. So be there early. I would say with the race starting at 7, there's going to be people down there as early as 6:30, and it's lined up as a rolling start. So if you're one of the front swimmers, you want to be there early enough, getting your wetsuit up and ready to go so that you're in the chute probably honestly at about 6:30, and they'll start staging the people on the dock probably as early as 6:50, maybe a little bit sooner. So be aware of that. And then you are going to be walking across this dock and you are going to be jumping off the dock to start the swim. And so plan on that. You want to do like a lifeguard jump, which is basically you splay your legs open and you jump with your legs splayed. That means that you won't go as deep. And then from there, you just have to start swimming. And from that point, as soon as you jump off the dock, your race has started and you'll swim out, which we'll talk about in a second. But it's basically you're swimming out into the bay at that point. So moving on to the swim course, as you can see here, here's the dock. See where transition is. Transition is right over here where this blue line is on the top. You got to walk all this way. And then where it is orange over here, that's where spectators cannot go. And then you're going to walk this final stretch to line up. Everyone lines up over here from fastest to slowest. You walk across the dock, you jump off, and then you swim out. There's going to be buoys probably every 100 meters or so. You want to basically hug the buoys. Don't go too wide, and know that you can even swim inside the buoy line. Just know that's where the kayakers are. So if you are someone who might need to rest on the kayak, this is a great option for you if you want to avoid people. The key thing is they're not going to stop you swimming inside the buoy line as long as you make sure to keep the red buoys on your left. And so you want to side off people, you want to side off buoys, but also know there's a Home Depot that if you're looking for a land siding, there's typically a Home Depot that you can see and side off of. And then make sure to check out, there's 2 red buoys here. You want to turn and then be able to turn again and make sure this is a 90-degree turn. This is further than a 90-degree turn. Sorry. Many people turn 90 degrees and they start swimming out and to the right and they get pushed out, kind of out into the bay. And you really want to make sure to hug the buoys as close as possible on the second turn. So you can take a straight shot back in to T2 in the end of the swim. And then know when you're swimming straight, you can basically, if you're looking to the left, you can sight off the shore. You'll see your buoys on your left, but you can also, right here, there is a big boat to sight off of. And so look at the boat, you're swimming straight. That red buoy will finally come. It will feel like it's forever. It's just past the boat. And know that the most chaotic part of the swim I've done this race 5 times. Going out, it feels actually pretty fast and smooth. Coming across, you just never know what you're going to get. So I'd recommend being comfortable learning how to breathe both sides, because there's been races where I've looked to the left and I'm just swallowing water because the waves are coming to my face. So then at that point, I would breathe to the right side. But then after this final buoy, when I come in, I just remember it feels so terrible. It feels like you're standing in place. So at this point, you just have to stay relaxed, but you need to keep that stroke rate up, and just kind of grind through it at that point. And then this is very, very important. Make sure you swim to, there's like a boat ramp coming out, and you want to swim until your fingertips hit the boat ramp and exit correctly. Because if you stand up too soon, not on the boat ramp or on the side of the boat ramp, there are oyster beds all around and you are going to cut your feet. And that is a big reason why there's no swim practice prior to race day, because they're worried about the safety of that. So know that if you're trying to get in a swim practice, you have to go somewhere else away from this location to get a swim practice in. And what we tell our athletes who are traveling Friday is just do your last swim on Friday. Don't worry about swimming Saturday. We do a shakeout bike and run, and then and then you race on Sunday. So anyway, make sure to go all the way to that boat ramp. You stand up, you exit out. So yeah, everything is explained right there. As you're getting out, you want to start to get your wetsuit down to your waist, and know that there's going to be wetsuit strippers not too far up. So you need to be very quick in getting your sleeves down and getting the wetsuit to your waist, so you can sit down, have them pull off the wetsuit, or help you in any manner, or you can just go past them, get to your rack, pull off your wetsuit yourself, get on your bike and go. As we've noted here, don't pull your goggles and cap off as you're trying to get your wetsuit, because now it's in your hands and it's very difficult to pull your wetsuit off. And then as soon as you get to transition, you throw your wetsuit off behind your helmet, your shoes, and then the first thing you want to do is put your helmet on, buckle it, because if you take your bike off the rack and your helmet isn't buckled, it's a DQ if someone's there to see you. So it's just safety. So make sure to do that. Turn on your bike computer right away. You should have checked everything that race morning. So going back, the first thing you do when you get there on race morning, you pump up your tires. You don't do it the day before. Make sure everything is good to go. You turn over the wheels a couple times, turn over the crank arms a couple times, make sure everything is shifting smoothly. You never know when you leave your bike overnight if it's going to have hit something on the side or fallen over and someone's put it back. So you just want to make sure your gear is correct. And then I would also turn your Garmin on, make sure that the watch and the Garmin is ready to go. So when you do it again, or you could leave it on. But if you do it again, then it just easily picks up the GPS. You could also leave it on until you get to your bike. And then the day before, I would definitely walk transition. So know how you're going to find your bike, because this is a massive race. There's like 4,000 people. So make sure you know how to find your bike when you're coming out of the swim, but also when you're coming off the bike, how you're going to get to your bike and not, stand in the middle of nowhere and not nowhere to go. Don't pick an ambulance or something that could move. Pick like a pole, pick a trash can. Even that could move, to be honest, but count the rows, something like that, to know that this is where your bike is going to be. Okay. Bike course is pretty standard. You're leaving Moody Gardens, and the big thing to know on that first outstretch is there are some speed bumps. So you will want to slow down over those speed bumps. Outside of that, once you've taken 1 or 2 turns and you take a right, now you are headed out straight on the seawall, and it's pretty much a straight shot. So correct in what we're saying here, aero is everything. There's typically in the past, there has been a tailwind going out and you're just flying. Make sure, I'd say for now, if you have time, make sure you have the right gearing so you don't run out of gear. But take advantage of that free speed, stay in aero, stay on top of fueling. Typically, this is a great course to use a disc. And then I would actually recommend a shallow front end, because there can be some side wind hitting you. And when there is side wind, it's not the disc that you're worried about because you're sitting on it. That doesn't get blown around. It's the front wheel. So I would say more narrow, so like a 404 front wheel is perfect for a course like this. And then on the way back, when it can be gusty or over the bridge, there's a section right here over the bridge where it can be very gusty. Stay in aero. You can actually brace yourself in aero. Don't brace too much because you don't want to be too tight and seize up your back or your legs, etc. But you should be able to stay in aero and maintain control of your bike. And then a key thing we always learn from our athletes after the race is because of the wind and handling of their bike, they forget to fuel. So I'd really highly recommend don't forget to take in your hydration, nutrition that you planned. And then during this bike course, stand up 1 or 2 times, but then the rest in aero. So there's an opportunity here at the end over a bridge. You can kind of stand up or sit up, stretch out your back. On the turnaround, you can do the same. Maybe right at the end, you can do the same as well, because 56 miles in aero, aggressively pushing, is pretty hard on your back. And so you don't want to get off the bike and your back and your hips and everything are too stiff. So a few breaks of where you're sitting up just for a second will be helpful, but no more than that. Yeah. And that's about it. Bike aid stations for you to know. You'll hit them every 15 miles approximately. So you have 3 aid stations. There's going to be water, Gatorade, gels, etc. You can see it right over here. I recommend always planning to get in early and get out as quickly as you can. You get in early because in case you drop a bottle, there are more options later on and you can grab it. You want to get out as quickly as you can because maybe someone in front of you dropped the bottle, or maybe they pulled over, even worse, to fill their station, and maybe they didn't yell about it, and now you ride up the back of them. So the aid stations are the most dangerous part of the course. So just have your head up, be safe, slow down enough to get what you need, and then get out of there. And then any trash you have, you can drop off at that point. So if you're replacing bottles, drop off your one bottle, grab another bottle. If you need the restroom, there are restrooms here as well. And then be loud. You know, if you need water, yell that you're grabbing water, etc. Okay, the bike to run transition. So as you're coming back into transition, we always recommend our athletes to get their cadence up, to start to match their run cadence, sit up and stretch a little bit if they need to. We typically back off the fueling a little bit. So we don't go into the run where we've just taken a lot of carbs. So they're still sipping on water or some light fuel, but nothing crazy right before starting the run. And you'll get off the bike. It's concrete, and so you're not running through grass or mud, etc. And it's a very, very short transition. If you actually look at the pros and all the age groupers of last year, transition 1 is maybe going to take you 2 minutes if you're fast, max 3. You shouldn't be slower than that. And then transition 2, the fastest guys are going through transition in less than a minute. It's that kind of small. There's no extra chutes you need to run through. So get in, get out as quickly as possible. And then make sure that you are not taking off too fast, because in the sense that hit your run pace that you've planned, because there's a whole bunch of team tents. It's flat, you'll get excited. And if you go out too hot that very first section when you're seeing everyone, you're usually going to pay for it later in the day. So if you have a pace to stick to, if you have a heart rate to stick to that. Don't go above that. And I like to really just focus on good form, good posture, good cadence, and let that dictate my pace. And then once I've kind of gone through the first mile or 2, then I will say, okay, where's my heart rate? Where is my pace? I'm not racing like right off the bat. And then the key thing for the run course you need to know is it's 3 loops. So a half marathon is short enough where you can still progress. The marathon, we don't see people actually progress their pace. It's really just a hold on as long as you can and then minimize the fade, which most people always fade. Whereas a 70.3, you can actually progress, where you're going to see your pace. If you pace it correctly, your pace is going to get a little faster. Your heart rate's going to get a little higher. And so if you can plan this out, whereas the first loop, just getting your feet underneath you, running comfortably, same heart rate as you had on the bike. And then the second loop, you're going to press it a little bit more. Third loop, you're just going for it. With that, there's no shade. It can be windy, can be very, very hot. So if you do not take care of yourself and cooling yourself, fueling yourself, you're going to be in a spot of trouble. So every aid station, take advantage of it. Don't go in just to grab 1 cup or 2 cups. If they have ice, grab it, put it down your top, your shorts, hold it in your hands. If there's water and Gatorade, grab as much as you can. Most of you all sweat quite a bit. And so if you had to drink, honestly, 4 or 5 cups every aid station, it might not still be enough for how much you're losing. So make sure that you're grabbing as much as you can every single aid station. And then, yeah, anything else, definitely want a hat, definitely want a sunglasses. take extra salt. A lot of people cramp on this course. I don't think they hydrate enough. They don't take enough salt. They're not aware to take enough salt. And it's maybe one of the first hotter days of the year. And so they, yeah, they're just in a spot of trouble come the run. So pay attention to your nutrition plan for you to have a really good run on this course. And then you can see here everything they offer. There's the only really sodium filled things here, I would say, is the Gatorade Endurance formula. Morton gels, I think there's a little bit of sodium, not much. And then obviously chips and pretzels, but I don't know how appetizing that sounds. In the 90 degrees, it will probably be. Then everything for the NVDM coaching athletes will have 2 tents set up. There'll be one outside of transition. There'll be one at a hot corner where you'll see us plenty of times, and we usually stack coaches all around the course. They'll be there to cheer you on, give you splits. If you want specific timing and splits of how someone else is doing, how far you are from the next person, please ask us and we will get on that with the tracker. And then race morning, the coaches will be at that first team tent. You guys can come over as soon as you set up transition, hang out there. We usually do a pre-race prayer around 6 o'clock, and then 6:10 we'll actually start to we'll do mobility, a quick warm-up first, quick jog, some mobility, pre-race prayer, and then right after that we'll start to head to the swim start. So plan for that in your race morning, and then awards are at 4, and then everything else, most of you all will be checking in on Friday and Saturday. Coaches will be there to ask any questions last minute. Saturday morning, we'll have a shakeout ride and run. At this drive, it's the parking lot of Schlitterbahn. Just look for our tent. We'll be set up, and it will be maybe 30 to 45 minutes total. And then in the evening, we'll have a team dinner. So you should all have that information of where our team dinner would be. Please RSVP for that. And then here's the details. 5 a.m. transition opens, meet at the team tent, warm up, mobility, pre-race team prayer, and then we walk to the swim start together, and then we'll be there to kind of take some shoes, etc., and then come to the tent afterwards to grab your shoes from us. So because this is me recording it, there are no questions, but I think I covered all the questions within this presentation. Hopefully that helps you, gives you a little bit of insight on the course. I think something on the run I also didn't mention is just there are a lot of U-turns, and there's a lot of like side to side on the course. So run the tangents and just hug those U-turns so that you don't run the furthest distance when you're running. Know you're going to lose momentum on that. So just keep your cadence light, keep it quick, and that should kind of keep you on pace as much as possible. And then enjoy. There's going to be 60 athletes there. So you'll get hyped up and encouragement from seeing all your teammates. Really kind of take that in throughout the day and enjoy yourself. It's the first race, so we'll get to learn where the training has put you up to this point, learn from it, and then develop from there for the rest of the season. So thanks, guys.